Hey everybody, I hope you're doing good. Today we're going to discuss something that 18% of US adults deal with every day: anxiety. Now, the first thing that you need to understand is that anxiety, fear, and stress are different things. Anxiety is an unpleasant tension state, similar to fear, in certain circumstances but not associated with a specific stimulus, and not necessarily with an external event at all. Symptoms include excessive worry, inability to set aside worry, panic attacks, and others. Fears are usually tied to a specific stimulus or situation. Phobias are intense versions of fears and usually generalized to vast but similar objects or situations. It is possible, however, that some fears are innate for humans, like the fear of snakes, spiders, and heights, because it was beneficial for us to avoid them way back in the day. Stress can be defined as a striving to meet a demand asked of us, even a good, reasonable, and enjoyable one, like working on a 5-page paper, starting a diet, or making so many goals in a specific basketball game. Those all can be described as stresses, even though they're so different from one another. I'll illustrate the differences a little better with an anecdote. If you enter an area that says "Beware of dog," and you haven't seen one, you'll be anticipating a scary dog. This is anxiety. But maybe you see an angry, snarling dog, and you get scared. This is fear. But having the fear of every dog you see, even peaceful ones, even pictures of ones, that is a phobia. Say you have 8 puppies waiting for you at home. When you get there, 2 of them are fighting, 4 of them are crying, 1 is pulling pillows off the furniture, and 1 is running around the house. Trying to contain that situation is stress. I really hope that helps in differentiating them. We all have some amount of anxiety in our lives. Anxiety acts like a gauge to move our attention to an area that needs to be addressed. Therefore, it's not always bad. But how will we know when it is? Good anxiety works for us. Those who don't worry, don't get their work done, may die in an alley, or forget important items for a trip. People with healthy anxiety get their work done early, decide not to take a shortcut through a dark alley, and double-check their luggage before they depart. Sometimes our anxiety misreports. We didn't go out with our friends and instead worked on something that was easier than anticipated. We could have taken that alley and shaved 10 minutes off of our route without dying, and we packed everything right the first time. Error in our anxiety is alright if it's not excessive. Bad anxiety can be hard to detect, so a general rule is to see how it impacts your life. Is it messing with your work, social, or romantic life? Missing out on our friends a few times to meet a deadline is alright, but say you miss the deadlines at work because you're trying to make sure that it's 100% perfect every time. This could cost you many promotions and even your job if it happens too much. If you have a fear of going outside or agoraphobia, you'll miss out on so much of life. Also, you can't change the situation. It's really hard to make the outside the inside. Anxiety can be so bad that it can actually call for one of several diagnosable mental disorders. The big one is generalized anxiety disorder. People with this disorder worry about a number of concerns such as health problems or finances, and may have a general sense that something bad is going to happen. It's usually accompanied with panic attacks that can happen suddenly without warning. People can be diagnosed with phobias. However, most of the time your fear of snakes doesn't necessitate a diagnosis because it doesn't interfere with your life. We don't live in houses of snakes, drive cars with snake steering wheels, or swim in snake trunks. Agoraphobia, however, is a phobic diagnosis because it interferes with people's everyday life. Social anxiety disorder, or social phobia, is demarcated by having an extreme fear of social situations due to being judged or evaluated. Again, it needs to adversely interfere with our life. Moderate social anxiety helps us not make fools of ourselves. Excessive anxiety, however, makes us avoid those situations altogether and is usually coupled with loneliness. Obsessive-compulsive disorder is characterized by persistent, uncontrollable feelings and thoughts, which are obsessions, and routines or rituals, which are compulsions. Wanting the towels folded isn't OCD, but repeatedly checking one's work for errors to the point where you don't actually turn the work in can be a form of OCD. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, develops after a severe physical or emotional trauma, such as a natural disaster, serious accident, or crime. Symptoms include flashbacks of the trauma, nightmares, and frightening thoughts that interfere with a person's everyday routine for months or even years after the traumatic experience. Well, we covered a lot today. We differentiated between anxiety, fear, stress, phobias, good anxiety, and bad anxiety. We also covered some of the types of diagnosis. Next time, we'll look at some of the professional treatments of anxiety. In the comments, I would like you to share with one another what the experience of anxiety was or is like for you and what you do to cope. As always, thanks for watching, and do me a favor and have a good day.